Check, check. All right, well, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Everybody enjoying this Florida heat? No, yeah, I was gonna say, I normally, I mow my own grass, and I normally try to record myself, time-wise of like, can I beat my time, like a record-wise over. Yesterday was the first time I had to stop what I was doing to get a hydration break and just let my record go. I try to beat it every single time, so, it is hot outside overall. But hopefully, we're in the season. Hopefully we don't see the season and it'll be okay. So, well, a little bit about myself. My name is Mike Buxton. I am a licensed nursing home administrator. I became a licensed nursing home administrator in 2012. I also, while I was doing my nursing home administrator license, getting it, and we'll explain a little bit more, I also got my degree from the University of Central Florida, a master's degree in health service administration. I am also review Department of Health as an expert witness for licensed nursing home administrators. So I review all cases and so forth for licensed nursing home administrators if they're doing ethical practices when they get in trouble. So I review those cases. And I also do the preceptor training for new administrators. So what that entails is for licensed nursing home administrators in the state of Florida, you're required either to complete 1,000 hours if you have a degree in healthcare administration or a 2,000-hour internship to become a licensed nursing home administrator. So 2,000 hours is equivalent to a whole year, by the way. So to become a licensed nursing home administrator is the only profession that requires you to do an internship of that magnitude, 2,000 hours. So if you ever see a licensed nursing home administrator, like Joe had to do an AIT, everybody had to do AIT. So I train the nursing home administrators on how to become efficient and new nursing home administrators, so for the state of Florida. So they have to have a licensed preceptor to train an AIT. I oversee the nursing home, assisted livings, and the home health here at John Knox Village as in my role. Oh, backwards. The three major areas we're going to talk about overall is going to be both assisted livings and how do they compare, and the nursing home overall. And these are just a kind of a real snippet overview of each one of them. Now, I know you know what a CCRC is, but I want to kind of show it because I want to explain how it breaks down. For a CCRC, obviously you're a life plan community, you live in here. On average, a resident that moves into one of a CCRC lives 6 to 7 years longer than their peers that live outside of a CCRC. That's because of socialization, medical follow-up through, and just overall people looking after people causes people to live longer and type this setting. You also are going to receive the care quicker and more efficient as well. And the reason why I wanted to show you the continuum is because one of the questions we get is when you go through the process, you're in IL and you're looking for the next stage. And we have what we call Oakview Suites is assisted living, and now we have what we call Oak Haven. Oak Haven is also an assisted living facility. People are getting confused overall because it's memory care focused. They're both assisted living. So that's why I showed that little graphic there. You will see Oakview Suites and Oak Haven are both assisted living facilities. They just specialize in two different things. Where Oakview Suites is just a standard assisted living with what we call ECC license, which I will explain shortly. Oak Haven is really focused on memory care. The whole building is designed for memory care residents, and we'll go into that a little bit later on. But one of the statistics I thought was interesting was right now in America, there's about 350 million people living in the United States. Of those 350 million people, 7.5 million, give or take, have some type of Alzheimer's and dementia disease. That's a lot of people. It represents about 2% of the population. 20 years from now, the projection is America will be around 375 million people. So a 25 million increase. However, residents with Alzheimer's and dementia will double and be around 15 million, which would represent 4% of the population. That is a drastic continued increase. If there's no type of cure in there, we will continue to see that increase over time, and the needs will continue to increase as well. So having a memory care is very important because we anticipate, if there's no cures, that it will continue to happen and continue to impact the elder population. That's a crazy statistic, though. Assisted livings. There's 1 million assisted livings, 1 million residents living in assisted living. So about 1 in every 350 people live in assisted livings. There's 41,000 assisted livings nationwide. Understand, that can be as small as a 1-bed assisted living all the way to a 500-bed assisted living. It really depends on it. There's much less rules and regulations compared to skilled nursing homes. So honestly, you can go get court trained and you can open up an assisted living inside of somebody's house. So we're compared to somebody open up a small assisted living in somebody's house compared to our assisted livings. There's a big difference in caliber and kind of what that looks like overall. So wide array. There's close to 3,000 assisted livings in the state of Florida. We are continuing to see that number actually decrease. There was a massive surge in assisted livings, especially a little bit before COVID. We are now seeing not many new assisted livings being built. And in Volusia County, there's 86 assisted livings, give or take. They open and close every day. A typical resident in assisted living, it's an 85-year-old female. That is the average age, and that's what we see. And more likely, a female resident is willing to move into assisted living. So that's why 1 in 7 residents are only male. So 6 out of 7 are female, what we see in assisted livings. The average length of stay is about 24 months. That number was a little bit higher years ago. What we continue to see is residents are waiting longer to move into assisted living. They are a little bit more frail, they wait longer, they try to stay at home as long as possible, which I totally understand, as that process looks. But we continue to see residents that have more comorbidities and are sicker when they come to us in an assisted living setting than what we used to see prior, just waiting a little bit longer. The most common ADLs that need support and help is bathing. So about 2/3 residents immediately need bathing support and help when coming into assisted living. About 70% of residents have memory impairment or cognition inside of assisted livings. And right now, currently, the increase after COVID, it continues to increase the occupancy, but new construction has continued to decline. And there's a clear increase in the expectation for residents that need assisted living. There's a clear path till 2050 of more and more beds that are needed because of the population that is in need, especially for the baby boomer population. Now, this is the comparison as well to show the difference and the same as Oakview Suites and Oak Haven. Both have what we call a standard license. This is what every single assisted living is required to have to operate, is what we call a standard assisted living license. This provides basic care needs for our residents, such as housing, meals, personal care, activities for residents. It provides the basic ADLs, the 6 ADLs, such as bathing, toileting, mobility, assistance with self-administered. Now, I say assistance. We are not to give medications without doing certain things, such as telling the medication, or we can still allow the residents to provide their own medications. We test them, we make sure that they're safe to do it, and we monitor that as well. So residents, this is an assisted living. We assist, not always do. And then nursing tasks such as vital signs, physician orders, and so forth. Now, that's both assisted livings. In our current Oakview Suites, we have what we call extended congregate care. Extended congregate care is an additional license that Oakview Suites carry. It's really to provide above and beyond care, and it's really based off the rules of the 1988 nursing homes. It provides us to be able to provide certain things such as ostomy, colostomy, oxygen management, wound care in an assisted living setting. So our ultimate goal always is to keep our residents at the highest level as possible before making that change, and that license normally provides us to keep them in there longer. So we can be able to put a resident on ECC services if they need to, so hopefully they don't have to go to the nursing home. Just regulatory surveys. Standard license is annual, or now they switch it to biannual. So if you're a good graces and your facility's in good graces, you're on a biannual basis, where some is on an annual. I will say that is not how it's being kept up. Such as, for example, Oakview Suites is almost 3 years now since we received our last survey. So we are approaching a long time for senior survey. Now I'm sure Amanda's in the background, knocking on wood, because she'd be more than happy to wait a little bit longer for that survey to take place. Not saying we're not ready, we're always ready, but surveys are a very stressful time. An ECC license are twice a year. Like I said, we haven't received ours in almost 3 years. So the state of Florida is still behind in particular. So a lot of that has to do with staffing on their part. In our last survey, we received 0 deficiencies. Now these are the most basic ADLs, or these are the 6 core ADLs, I should say, such as feeding, bathing, dressing, transferring, toileting, and movement. When we look kind of at the overall of our residents, these are all the things we will provide in assistance on a day-to-day basis for our residents. These also, if you're applying for long-term care insurance, and we'll talk about at the end, you need 2 of these to be an assistance to be able to qualify for long-term care insurance. So these are the 6 core things that we look at. And if you are looking at moving up or needing additional services, these are the things that you're breaking down and determining, am I ready to move on? Can I do all these things myself? Now, when considering for moving on to the assisted living, like I said, the 6 core ADLs, if you have issues with that, that's something that you should start looking into. If you need to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, do you feel that you're safe to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night? Are you going to have any issues or any problems? Are you able to do that basic toileting in the middle of the night to make sure you're safe? And I can assure you, we look at all the incident reports, and there's residents that are in that process and need to go through it because they fall 3, 4, 5 times in a week going through that process. So we're looking at them constantly to make sure that they're safe. Missed medications. When you start missing your medications, you need assistance with medication or just forgetfulness. That is a sign, and we can be able to help greatly with medication management. Like I said, falls, social withdrawals. At the beginning of this conversation, I said on average, moving into a CCRC, you live 6 to 7 years longer. This is one of the big things. When you start social withdrawing, it's a concern as well. People don't realize it, but social well-being and being with residents make a big difference. Home safety concerns is very important as well. I had a resident that loves hard-boiled eggs at my last community. He made hard-boiled eggs all the time. However, he made hard-boiled eggs. He fell asleep while making those and started the smoke alarm for the entire building. We had to evacuate and everything else associated with it because he left it. 2 days later, he did the same exact thing. It's time to start looking at those type of things. Falling asleep with your oven on is a concern, and we need to address those. And lastly, and probably one of the biggest things people don't take in consideration, when you are a spouse providing care, that takes a large toll on somebody. That is something that is very fatiguing and is really hard in itself. We see a lot of residents that support each other that just get burnt out and tired from taking care of somebody else. And then they stop looking at themselves. They stop taking care of themselves. They stop eating correctly, stop working out or doing the basic day-to-day things. And that also impacts you as a whole. And so we love that you're taking care of your loved one. We want to help and assist, but we also want to make sure you're taken care of as well. So these are just 6 things that you want to start really considering when it's time to possibly make a move into the assisted living and looking out for each other. Now, Oakview Suites is at the corner of Trafford. It's off of 3 different hallways. The 100 hallway is studio apartments down below. Above that is the 200 hallway. They're all 1 bedrooms. There's 16 of them. And then on 300 hallway, there's 15 1-bedroom apartments. Now, we have a licensed capacity for 60 beds, but we have 49 rooms. On average, the reason why to keep that number is that we receive a lot of couples that decide to make that change as well. So on average, we have about 3 to 4 residents couples that move into that community together. So the license is 60, but we have 49 apartments on 3 different hallways. And I really want to push this, is that the entire building is on 100% generator. So if there's an emergency and the power goes out, the building has full generator capacity. Not every assisted living has it. Actually, very few have full generator capacity in the assisted living setting. So residents that are on oxygen or CPAPs or anything else like that, they know they can continue to have AC and have power through the night. So it's a really nice feature. And during the hurricanes that happened, 2018, facility down in Miami, a nursing home, did not have power generator. All they had was a certain amount of plugs that were operational. And what they did, and this is just a quick side story, is to put AC in their building, they put little handlers, AC handlers down the hallways. Well, what they were doing was putting the air vents into the ceiling tiles, so all the discharge hot air was going into the ceiling tiles on the first floor and on the second floor. Well, heat rises. And so the residents on the second floor, because they're pushing AC, the temperatures were hitting high 90s, 100 degrees into that room. And 8 residents had to be evacuated and then end up passing away from in that building. And that was the reason why generators were pushed so much in nursing homes and having cool areas in assisted livings was because of that situation in 2008 in Holly Hills, down in Miami area. Oakview Suites, like I said, just laid out the hallways. Each hallway has what we call a dining room and a satellite kitchen. The food is made or cooked at the cranes and then satellite down to each of the hallways. So we have 3 distinct satellite kitchens and 3 dining rooms. We also use those spaces for activities with the creative arts room. We also have washer and dryers on floors, and we have what we call a resident guard system. It's really kind of more built for around residents that might have issues with cognition, or a couple and one has cognition issues, just to put a tracker on them. It's really just so they don't go in and out of doors. It kind of looks like a Fitbit or a watch. We rarely use it, maybe 1 or 2 residents, especially with Oak Haven being built, but it always gives us that ability to have those as a temporary fix if we have any issues with residents leaving the building. Each studio apartment has a kitchenette area, a private shower and bath, 2 closets, temperature controlled, and has safety features, such as the pendants and call lights. That would page 2 pagers. And 1 bedrooms have living room, walk-in closets, little pantry area, large bath, closet storage, and they're all temperature controlled. So whatever you like for temperature-wise, you're able to set it. So some rooms are freezing cold because they enjoy it, and some residents keep it very hot, and I can barely breathe in there. So it's all their preferences. Oakview Suites, we have menus that are all overseen by the registered dietitian. If we have any weight issues or any other concerns, our dietitian also sees those residents as well. Like I said, we have all the menus. The dining room areas. We also have what we call alternative menus for residents as well. If they don't like on the menu, they can choose other selections, and we document that. We do medication management. We also do appointments. That takes up a lot of our time, but is very important. So if a resident comes back into our building with orders that do follow-up, we make sure we follow up for those. We set up transportation, we make sure we communicate, and we work with the physicians as well. Additional nursing services via ECC. So we do a lot of little nursing services. Not all the time both assisted livings have nurses, but we do have nursing supervision overall, and we also have an RN for the ECC license. Personal care and life enrichment assists with ADLs and showers. We have what we call PCAs and CNAs intertwined. We staff very high, and I'll show you what our staffing looks like for each one of those. But they provide a lot of the ADLs and assistance on a day-to-day basis, and we have residents on shower schedules. We also do laundry on a weekly basis, and we change out bed linens, do basic trash removal on a daily basis, meal appointments. We also have exercise program and wellness. One of the big things we pushed was for additional activity. So we have 2 full-time for Oakview Suites and Oak Haven, so we can start having programming on at least 6 of the 7 days. And our goal is ultimately to have as much activities as possible for our residents and look at 7 days but currently we're up to 6 days, and Oakview Suites. And we have parties, luncheons. We did a lot more outings. However, we realized when we started bringing food inside, we have a lot more residents that participate. So instead of doing to like, let's say Olive Garden, we can bring 5 or 6 people on buses. We do Olive Garden internally. We would have about 15 to 20 residents participate. So we really looked at doing a lot of takeout and so forth for the residents, pairing up with movies or other activities with the residents. And common features, we have weekly housekeeping, like I said, transportation services, 24-hour security, as you know, and so forth. Oakview Suites, team and structure. The administrator is Amanda Logan. I know you all know Amanda Logan. She is also sitting in the back. Our new individual that's moved over, if you do not know Holly Stevens, she was pretty much the kind of main RN at Home Health. She has recently moved to Oakview Suites, and she's a resident care coordinator at Oakview Suites. She's been with John Knox Village for a while now. She used to work in a nursing home, then Home Health, and now at Oakview Suites. So she has seen all levels of care now within John Knox Village. Jackie Martinez is the administrative assistant up front, and Adrian is the activities coordinator. Overall, how nursing looks like, we have our over top is the resident care coordinator. She is kind of the director of nursing. She oversees all healthcare there. Then we have LPNs, either 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. They do a lot of our nursing needs, such as redlining, medical appointments, communicating with doctors, follow-up care plans, those type of services. Then we have what we call med techs. They do a lot. They require to take core competency classes. They're trained education. We do audits. We look at everything, a lot of programming and training for them to pass medications. And they do, majority of our medication administration passes around the building. They're required to read the medications to the resident, explain what the medications are if needed to each one of the residents, and they pass out meds. And we have one on each floor, 7-3 and 3-11, and then one for 11-7, because it's the least amount of meds. And then we have what we call PCAs and CNAs. They do a lot of the day-to-day operational things, such as grooming, bathing, helping with toileting, and answering call lights. Now, this is one of the things that everybody is interested in. This is the current pricing for Oakview Suites. So a studio apartment is, if you see below, is the rate. So we have the room and board rate is $25.19, and then the ALF surcharge is $3,182. You combine that to get the monthly rate of $5,701 a month for the studio apartment. The one bedroom is the rate, the room and board rate is $3,819 plus the ALF surcharge equals $3,182. You combine that to equal $7,000, and then you do for the last is the room rate with double the surcharges gives you the rate for if you're a couple for $11,679. Now, those prices look very expensive. I can assure you, we are very competitive. Now, one thing that we do for us at assisted livings is that it's all-encompassing price. I look at a lot of other assisted livings. They bring residents in around $4,000. Normally, residents need medication administration or assistance, and automatically that's a tack-on fee of $2,000. So that $4,000 rate becomes $6,000. If you need a shower, they charge in a weekly another $500. If you want transportation, there's another fee to that, and then it adds on greatly. So when I went to the last building I went to, the move-in was $4,000, but if you used all the services that I need, such as showering, ADL support, med management, if you're somewhat incontinent, they charge another $1,000. It came out to over $10,000. So ours is all-encompassing prices when you look at that. So, and that's, I want to put a note, there's no levels of care. So that's the flat rate for anybody, depending on how much assistance you need. It doesn't matter, it's all encompassing. Any questions there? Yes, ma'am. It's really the care that's provided. So you have what we have the room and board that includes the room, the meals and everything. The ALF surcharge is all the care associated with it. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
So someone moves in from a cottage or an apartment, their monthly disappears and this takes over.
The surcharge, yes. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Mayor.
Mike, the assisted living units that we have, if available, it can be used by outside folks, not residents here.
That's correct.
Correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
How's that rate compare with what John X Village residents pay?
I was going to mention this. So it is the same rate. Now, they don't get the benefit from the healthcare contracts. So when they move on to a nursing home, they're, membership has its privileges. However, they do have to pay a community fee to move into our community, just to move into assisted living. So they get the same rate, but they have to pay in a community fee to move into that. So for Oakview Suites, it's $2,000, and for Oak Haven, it's $3,000 for the community fee. Our residents, one-time fee. Yes, yes, sir. Yep. This is where I knew the majority of the questions were going to come from. I have it in all three sections. They answered these questions. So.
Is there a waiting list currently to get into either one of those facilities?
Oakview Suites is currently has a waiting list. That is normally our most demand portion of it, and Oak Haven does not have a waiting list. But we are working through the Oakview Suites, so we're almost at the end of the waiting list because some of the residents that were on the waiting list ended up going to Oak Haven in itself, so we kind of went through that list.
This is out of the box, but if a significant other is there and you go and you visit them, they're having their meal, will you sit down? Can you sit down there and join them when they're having their meal?
We highly encourage you to do so.
Okay, so now what happens? I'm hungry also. So can I say participate in that meal and then it's charged to my account, or how does that work?
We can work with it. So if you're interested, let us know and we can come up with a way to figure that out. We want everybody to be engaged, and we want especially spouses and so forth to still eat with each other and so forth. So if you are interested, let us know and we'll make sure we work that out because it's important to us to continue to have that relationship. Any other? Wonderful questions. Thank you. And this is going to be posted afterwards, so you can always freeze it and take a picture as well. Or just give a call and we'll be more than happy to give you those rates. Oakview Suites resident demographics, like we talked about, our average age is around 91 years old, and our average length of stay is a little bit higher. Oh, go backwards. Now, Florida ALF staffing, I think this is a little comical, but how it works out is the minimum staffing. So under that 17 beds, staff members are actually allowed to sleep at night. I just wanted to throw that tidbit because I think that's very interesting. But we are looking at, so if you go to that top right corner, we average around that 45, 46, 47 mark. So we have a minimum of 375 hours a week that's needed for care. That counts the administrator, that counts everybody else for the care needs. We are over 3 times that amount at our assisted living for the minimum staffing ratio. We average over 1,000 hours a week of care-related staff. So I really want to show that because that's the same over at Oak Haven, but we average well above the staffing ratios, minimum staffing ratios for the state of Florida. And I can assure you a lot of the for-profit and other facilities stay within line of those numbers because that is their requirements. Oak Haven. So we purchased Oak Haven November 21st, 2025. It is on Veterans Memorial Parkway. It sits about on 4.5 acres. It was originally serviced. The building is a pretty good size for an assisted living, especially a memory care assisted living. It's around 43,000 square feet, and it's divided into 2 memory care units with 32 on each. Now, each neighborhood has 32 apartments, like I was saying. It is broken down by Magnolia Suites. On each side it has 2 Magnolias, 4 Oaks, and 26 Pines because they look identical. Now, when you go look at these rooms, I know a lot of people went and look, and if you ever just want a tour, feel free to set up a tour. We're more than happy to tour you because we do want to show it off and show what the building looks like. But when you go see these rooms, understand they're built to be smaller. We want residents outside of their rooms. So when you go look at these assisted living rooms, they average around 300 to 380 square feet depending on the size. That's the max amount that they are. Because a lot of times, if you give residents more room, they're going to be less likely to come out of their rooms, especially with memory care. And our goal is to try to keep them engaged and keep them going through the day-to-day and keep them busy. Because easily for residents, especially with dementia, their time can easily be thrown off quickly, where they're up through the night and they're sleeping through the day. So we see that quite often. So we really try to keep them on that schedule through that day-to-day. So the rooms are kind of purposely built to be smaller, but the rooms are really, really nicely designed and have large bathrooms. Each neighborhood has a dining room, living room areas, activity engagement, and washers and dryers as well. Also, when you walk in to the building, it has a very nice town center, which we use quite often. And that is the breakdowns of what the rooms each look like. These are the prices for each of the areas. Now, I didn't break them down by the surcharge or anything as well, but we can, if you're interested, we can do that at another conversation. But the Oak Suite is $6,350. That's a little bit larger is the Pine, and this is the most common room, is $6,650, and the Magnolia is $6,950. And that is also the same with Oakview Suites, it's all encompassing. So that is a fee that you will see. So we're not going to sit here and charge to take an additional shower. We're not going to charge for medication administration. We're not going to charge you because you're incontinent or the resident's incontinent or had a mistake or an issue. That is the all-encompassing fee. There's no level of care fee. The who's who. Amanda Delgado, she was the administrator of Oakview Suites. She moved over as the administrator of Oak Haven. There's a lot of oaks, so if I mess up my oaks, I do apologize. William Miller has been with previously Certus, now with us for over 5 years. He is maintenance and housekeeping, which is nice because he knows the ins and outs of the entire building. Michelle Espinoza has been there for 5 years as well. She was last year for 5-year celebration. She is the administrative assistant. She knows everything that's going on there. Kim Maldonado is our resident service coordinator. Francis Diaz actually used to work at Majestic Oaks as an activity and then went over to Certus as their engagement supervisor or as the activity coordinator. And Tammy Chloe is the marketing. So Tammy Chloe was recently hired about a couple months ago, and she oversees Oakview Suites and Oak Haven's marketing. So what for Oak Haven, I might have missed this slide, but it is really built for dementia in its setting. It has natural walking path. They really focused on colors. So when you look down a hallway, you know what room you are because of what color doors they have in the areas. You know, the plates are colored as well. So red plates, residents end up eating more. Blue plates, residents end up eating less. So all the plates, depending on if the resident needs to eat more or eat less, because it looks less non-appealing on blue plates. So if you want to stop eating a little less, put everything on blue plates. So we really focused on those type of things, especially with dementia. It's really focusing on the colors. The flooring is different colors when you go throughout the building because we wanted to make designated areas so the residents know, hey, this is where it is. Also, not that we do it, but like residents with severe dementia, a lot of places would put down black carpet, straight black carpet, because residents start thinking it's a hole and refuse to go to that area. So when you have residents with dementia, you want to use colors because it makes a big difference, and you want to have different layouts. And so that building is really set up to really focus on residents, with natural paths, natural color wayfinding styles, and so forth. So if you have not been to that building, please, we're more than happy to set up a tour and would love to have you over there. Now, this is for Oakview Suites and for Oak Haven. Signs that assisted living might not be appropriate and need additional skilled nursing care. If we have a resident with advanced dementia and they're very cognizant, they have, for example, I had a resident that I believe might have been CIA or FBI. His whole mission was to escape out of our building. He would he would try different codes, write them down, and try to figure out how to get throughout the codes. Now, we got badges, but he would do it. He'd try to open up doors, windows. He did everything. He hid to try to get other doors. Well, probably not the safest resident to be in that setting because all of a sudden he needs a further assistance in that type of setting. So it really depends on each resident and their dementia state. Complex medical needs. If a resident is no longer, for example, started getting wounds, right? For our assisted living, by rules and regulations, we cannot have a stage 3 pressure ulcer. I'm not going to show you any pictures of pressure ulcers, but there's stages 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you want to go look, and you can go look at it, just give you a fair warning, especially 3 and 4. But in an assisted living setting, we can only have 1 or 2 pressure ulcer of a stage 1 or stage 2. If it gets past that, we cannot keep them inside of our assisted living. So we would have to move them on. ADL, remember this is an assisted living facility. So we can take residents with assisted living and assisted living assistance. However, when a resident is unable to help stand up or help feed themselves, we're looking at is it possible time to move over to a nursing home. Declining mobility, what happens in assisted living? We don't staff exactly the same as a nursing home. Now we're starting to get a little close because we staff so high, but what happens if there was a fire, right? Is a resident able to get and move outside the facility? Are they able to still, if they're in a wheelchair, are they still able to ambulate in a wheelchair? If not, it's possibly time to make that change and look at moving into a nursing home. If a resident continues to have chronic conditions that we're not able to manage in the assisted living and needs 24-hour nursing because they have 24-hour nurses always on the clock, maybe it's best that they go over to the nursing home. And we will be full communication during that process. And lastly is hospice end of life as well. We want to make sure that they're in a home-like setting, but we also want to make sure we take care of that resident as well. Majestic Oaks. Any questions, Hor? Majestic Oaks, little history. It was a 60-bed facility, got a CON in 1979. We opened up, I think it actually was built in 2002 and was moved in 2003 over to Majestic Oaks, which is a 150-bed nursing home, 93,000 square feet, 114 private rooms, which is unheard of, by the way. We're very nice here like that. Having all these private rooms gets a lot of options, and it's really nice for the residents and the families to have 114 private rooms. And they have 18 semi-private rooms. Now, it's really 2 private rooms that share a full-size shower, but couples I've seen be very creative. They've made a little living room area in one room and put 2 beds in the other rooms and so forth, and it really made the room feel like a home. But it is 18 semi-private rooms overall. That gives you 150. Now, we also have 132 full-size bathrooms. It's one of my favorite features of Majestic Oaks. If you go to other nursing homes, and you can choose any one of them around this area and probably the greater Orlando area, they have a shower down the hallway. So a resident would get in their robes, wheelchair down the hallway, take a shower or need assistance, put back in the robes or get dressed, and then brought back to the room. Here it's really nice because each resident room, they're able to shower in their own resident room. It's a real nice benefit to have showers in each room and have that luxury of having full-size bathrooms in each room. And overall, just want to touch, we have 150 licensed beds. 90 of them are sheltered and 60 are community, and we have a plus a 30-bed variance. It probably means nothing to you overall, but it gives us a little sometimes it's strategy of how to fill that building. And it really is focused on providing a focus for the residents here. If you look at the hallway configuration, the 100 and 200 hallway are really built for a rehab unit. That's where the gym is located. 3, 4, and 500 is our memory care. That is a 45-bed memory care. We are one of the very few memory care nursing homes that are left. A lot of nursing homes have abandoned memory care because that is such a high prone and high risk population, and they prefer not to bring them into a nursing home. The 600 is considered the lobby area. The 7, 800 is rehab and long-term care upstairs. And then 9, 10, and 11 hallway is pretty much our long-term unit, our true nursing home. Now, I wanted to break down because it's one of the questions I get a lot. What is the difference? Well, Majestic Oaks is kind of all three in one, but I'll break it down to you. We are a skilled, the one that fits the most for us is a skilled nursing facility because we have rehab and we have long-term care. For skilled nursing, kind of consider the 1 and 200 bedrooms. Those are our short-term rehab beds. Majority of our residents that are going in there are Medicare or managed medical advantage plans and so forth, and they're there for rehab. And now I say moderate. Moderate's kind of a loose term because when you're looking at a moderate, it's 2 to 3 hours of activities or therapies per day. So is 2 to 3 hours considered moderate, or is it considered high or low? It all depends on the individual because somebody might work out 3, 4 hours a day, and some people might not be able to work out more than an hour a day. It really kind of depends, but that's kind of what the moderate looks like. Medical oversight is 24-hour nursing supervision with MD oversight, and the most common payers are Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance. Now, our nursing home or long-term care, that is a 9, 10, 1100 hallways upstairs. Those are for long-term care residents. Those are more for the residents that are going to be there for the remainder of their life. Provides daily care and supervision. Therapy is really kind of just preserving it. They would have maybe restorative programs, but overall, there's not a lot of rehab that is taking place. We just want to make sure that we maintain their lifestyle. We don't want it to decline. So if that needs assistance with restorative to help feeding themselves or just basic functionalities, that's what we do. And oversight is routine. Physician comes there maybe once a week to look over them. And the common payer types are Medicaid and private pay. And lastly is a rehab center. Now we have LTACs and so forth. They're a little bit higher rehab centers. We consider ourselves a rehab center. However, they have extensive rehab and have high tolerance rehab services. So they're looking at, ours is 2 to 3 hours a day for rehab. They're looking at 3 to 6 hours a day for rehab services, if you can tolerate it. And you have to have certain diagnoses to participate, such as you have a stroke, they're looking at bringing you to a stroke, or coming in a stroke, or you had a car accident that has certain conditions and you're there. And that is around about 2 hours, 2 weeks of therapy, and their goal is to send you home. Nursing homes, there's 14,742 nursing homes in the United States. Of that, in Florida, there's 693. In Volusia County, there's about 29, and about 1.2 million residents are in nursing homes. So if you add them together, assisted living nursing homes, over 2 million people reside in assisted living and nursing homes nationwide. Resident age, 83% of the residents are above the age of 65. I worked at another facility. They took in every single age, as long as they were above the age of 18. I remember there was my first complaint, my first day on the job. There was a resident that was 21 years old inside of a nursing home. There was a quadriplegic with a resident that was 83 years old. Guess what the complaint was? They didn't get along. They didn't get along. They listened to different music, came from a different generation. They had all these issues, and it's probably not the best to have a resident with such a large gap in interest in overall lifestyles. You know, have somebody that's this age and this age makes a big difference. That's one of the nice features here, is that you have to be above a certain age to move into John Knox Village and into Majestic Oaks. So we have majority of our residents within that same age group. Gender split, 1 man for every 3 women or females. Long-term care needs, 7% of people who reach 65 will no longer need long-term care at one point, or go to a nursing home. So about 7 out of every 10 people in this room will be at the nursing home at one point. Industry trends, nursing homes have continued to decline. So it was 15,600 less than a decade ago, and it has declined. We lost about almost 1,000 nursing homes. And that's because nursing homes are one of the most regulated industries in the world. The only thing that's more regulatory than a nursing home is nuclear power plants. Yep. We have over 50 regulatory boards that we have to make sure we monitor and keep up with. And we have a certain price. We can't charge anything more than what the Medicare rate is. We can't charge anything that's different than what the Medicaid rate is. We have a fixed rate of what we can charge and what we cannot charge. Where hospitals that can charge any price, we have a fixed charge. So we have to make it work. And you see a lot of nursing homes really shut down, especially these for-profits, make a change. And one of the benefits of being in CCRC is the nursing home is also supported by our IL residents. So when COVID happened, a lot of nursing homes were failing because they didn't have the clientele, but we were able to be supported by the IL. Vice versa, now that we're doing well, we're able to help out with the IL. So it's kind of nice to have different levels of care. And occupancy was way down, especially during the pandemic phases. This is ours. About every one resident is a villager or from John Knox, and every 2 is from outside the community. Our average age is 87. Understand the average age in a nursing home is about mid-70s. So we are much older than the average nursing home. And almost 70% of our residents are above the age of 85. And it's 1-to-3 ratio. So we have a much older clientele. These are all the department structures here. Nursing home housekeeping activities, dietary, therapy, maintenance, and administration. These are the who's who. Kenny Rodriguez is the administrator. Tina Masari is the CDM. She's been with us for over 10 years. She's absolutely amazing. Lucia Andino has been with us for over 20 years. She's a mission coordinator. Migdalia is just brand new. Jermaine Woods has been here for a long time as well in business office. Susan McElfresh has been in our area for a long time. She's worked at many other nursing homes. We are happy to have her. She's the director of nursing. Sheila Joseph is our registered dietitian. She has been with John Knox Village for over 30 years. Rachel Wright is our therapy director. She's been with us for about 8 years. Kaylin Alexander, she came from the New York area, moved down a year ago. She has her master's degree in recreational therapy. She's wonderful. Yep. And Melinda is director of social services, and she's been with us for about 5 years now. She does a great job. Now, these are the core services that Majestic Oaks offered, like other nursing homes: 24-hour nursing supervision, rehab services, PTO, TST, provide all med management, day-to-day services. And we also offer all these special and ancillary services. Our ultimate goal in Oakview Suites, Oak Haven, and the nursing home is to try to bring as much services in-house so residents don't go and have to leave the building. Now, sometimes they have to go to other places because we can't provide those services, but our ultimate goal is always to provide those services in-house. So x-rays are very common, lab work we can do, and so forth. So we try to do as much in-house. Majestic Oaks Rehab Services, we provide PTO, TST. I know this will be talked about at Chris's coffee with a while ago, but we still offer those services inside of Majestic Oaks. Now, regulatory compliances. Like I said, we are the most regulatory compliance in the state of Florida. In the United States, besides nuclear power plants. Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, they do our federal oversight. They create rules and regulations for the feds. Then we have what we call the Agency for Healthcare Administration. They are like the state. They oversee all the state rules and regulations. So we have federal rules and regulations, and we have state rules and regulations. They don't communicate. So sometimes there's rules that counteract each other. We just have to choose which one's the more stringent of those two, and that's what we decide to do. Then we have the Department of Health. They come here to do kitchen inspections, biomedical waste, group home inspections, infection control inspections. They come here on a regular basis. We have Department of Children and Family. If we have, we rarely have them, but if we have an allegation of abuse, we are required, and we're a very transparent organization, we always report it. We have 2 hours to report it. Does it matter if it's on a weeknight? Nope. Does it matter if it happens on a weekend? Nope. It doesn't matter if it's on Christmas morning. We have 2 hours to report an allegation of abuse. Even if we know that nothing happened, we still have to report it. When we are a very transparent organization, we will always report it, and we will always do an investigation. And then we are also Joint Commission certified here. So we have all 3 levels here at John Knox Village. This is our CMS 5-star rating. We are 5-star in health inspection, 5-star in staffing, and 4-star in quality measures. The reason why quality measures really is not at that, we do a wonderful job, but we also deal with more frail residents. And their goal is to try to actually drop your star ratings a lot of the times for reimbursement purposes, but we deal with more frail residents. So we're not gonna have residents that can jump up for quality measures and be able to walk because they're 102 years old. Does that make sense? So, but overall, our quality measures is great. We're better than about 80% of other nursing homes when you count the measures in itself. But overall, we are a 5-star facility, and we're rated in the top 5 in the state of Florida. The last 4 years, we've only received 1 deficiency. That is unheard of in nursing homes. The average in the United States is 9 to 10 deficiencies per nursing home per year. And the state of Florida is over 7 per year per nursing home. And we've averaged 1 in the last 4 years, so 0.25. Really great job to the Majestic Oaks team. These are our staffing hours. We are much higher than the industry. You can see the national is 3.5 hour, 3 hours, 15 minutes. That include nurses and CNAs. That does not include administration staff, and we do 4 hours and 38. So we almost about an hour more than the nursing home and the state of Florida. These are all of our insurance contracts. I know you're focused on this, but the next slide is more important. You can always go back to that. Is that if you are in the state of Florida, and there's a federal rule, it's 42 CFR 422.133. If you want to read it, go ahead and read it. It'll put you to sleep. But the overall function of it is you are part of a CCRC. This is considered your home. The nursing home is considered your home as well. That means no matter what managed care plan you have or any insurance that you have, they are required to contract with us to receive care at Majestic Oaks. They're required by law to contract. Now, they're going to give us the worst rate. That's fine. Our goal is always to take care of you no matter what. But they're required to contract with it. If they tell you have to go to another facility somewhere else in the state of Florida, no, that's my home nursing home, and they're required to contract. And we will do everything in our power to do that for you and make sure we file all the insurance stuff to make sure that you go to our nursing home. So it doesn't really matter what plan you choose, we will get that contract. Does that make sense to everyone? Yep. So that is the rule, and it's Return to Home Skilled Nursing Home is the title of that. So you're part of a CCRC, this is your home in Majestic Oaks. Does that make sense? Now, there's 3 different types of stays here. The temporary stay, normally covered by Medicare or managed plan. They normally go into our nursing home, receive rehab, and that covers all supplies and everything, such as labs, x-rays, and it's covered, and even medical meals. Then we have what we call, not covered. I apologize. Everything is responsible if you're a temporary stay. I apologize. I did rehab stay. I changed it up. A rehab stay is covered under Medicare and covers everything. A temporary stay is you're responsible for everything. And then we have what we call, on the way right, is a permanent stay, and that is a perm is normally is private pay or Medicaid, and they are may have patients liable based on the income and assets, and if you're all part of your life care contract, you have a certain rate, and I will get to you that right now. I'm jumping the gun. I apologize, guys. I'm going back. I want to go through this first. What is expected during normal stay is a nursing home, is that you will be going to a hospital, most likely, and you need a 3-night qualifying stay. That is normally what happens when you come to a short-term rehab. So if you go to short-term rehab, you need a 3-night qualifying stay. Does it matter if you're admitted at 11:59? No. That is considered a 1-night stay from 11:59 to 12 o'clock. Now, if you're admitted at 12:01, that's not considered a stay. It's not considered a night. But normally it's a 3-night stay. Now, what we've heard from everybody is Advent Fish is the last hospital along the chain. So if you go to Advent Fish, you're most likely going to be discharged at night. The reason for that is because the hospitals work in, they work out, and then they drive home to the Orlando area. So we get a lot of our admissions at nighttime because they're not discharged till 4 to 7 o'clock at night and when they come to us. Do you really want therapy to come evaluate you at 8 o'clock at night after that long day at the hospital? No, you do not. I would not want to. So the next day we will be doing your evaluations, doing all your therapy. You'll have tons of nursing staff coming in there asking you a lot of questions. Bear with them. They're required to do those questions. And we'll get you all situated and start your therapy programming. Day 3 is you're doing therapy per, PT, OT, ST. It's 30 to 60 minutes per what you can tolerate and maintain. 3 days before discharge, our goal is to always do a home evaluation. So you're going through this whole process. You might be there for 20, 30 days. Our average is around 29 days, average stay. Around day 25 to 26, we were doing a home evaluation. What does a home evaluation look like? We are going home to make sure your home is safe and whatever you tell us is happening. My last community, a resident says, hey, I'm perfectly fine. This is my building. We go there, show up for the home evaluation. Guess what we identified? They lived on the 2nd floor with no elevator. We have whole new goals because now we have to go up 9 stairs to get to their room, right? Or we can just go to a home and all of a sudden they're just filled with rugs. There's all tripping hazards, right? Or there's no bars or there's no, in their bathrooms. How are they supposed to get up? So we need to order DME equipment. So we're doing all that evaluation to make sure we have everything ready for you and have all those goals set. If your only place that you can shower is a bathtub and you have to step in a bathtub, that's a new goal, right? Can you step into a bathtub now? So these are all the questions that we're looking at during our home evaluation, trying to get answered, what devices you need, and we're setting that all up. And then we're going to give you a discharge notice, and hopefully we met all those goals and you go home safe and you never come back again. That is the ultimate what it looks like. Now, this is the daily rates. This is not for your rates, but this is for outside community. You will see a extensive different. So if you're there at our health center, just there for long-term care, it's $391 a day. That is the cost for them. If they're receiving a rehab service, it's $605 a day. And for you is your charge plus a $71 meal fee charge. And then we have the memory care daily surcharge. So semi-private is $89, and the private room is $126 for the memory care because of all the other activities and higher staffing in that area. But overall, it's $391 a day, and I'll show you examples when we get there, what it costs for you. So a temporary stay for private pay for our residents, monthly service fees remain in place, billed on the IL statement. So no additional MO room rate is charged, so no room rate. Daily medical meal upcharge of $71, that will be a $71 fee. Supplies will be billed separately, so you will get billed for supplies. Pharmacy and therapy will be part of your Part B or your supplemental insurance plan. And if you need memory care, you will receive a memory surcharge. And if you're Medicare and insurance, that is the other services and the cost. There's no cost really when you come in that way, just your co-payments and so forth. Now, when you're permanently transferred to Majestic Oaks will use the most recent current monthly service fees at the base. So if you were at your home, that's what the fee is. If you're at Oakview Suites or at Oak Haven, those are the fees that we showed. And a meal add-on will be at $71. Memory care fees will be also supplemented. And like I said, the structure for Oakview Suites. Here's probably what you came for. This is how the cost will look like. So we're gonna look on the left-hand side first, single IL resident. So if your monthly fee is $3,000, that will move over for your monthly fee for Majestic Oaks. And your medical meal add-on is $71. So if you add that $71 on, it comes out to $2,146. So your total monthly fee will to be at a monthly basis at Majestic Oaks will be $5,146. Our cost is over $10,000, but being under a Type A contract, that is the cost, $5,146. Does that make sense? And that's how it breaks down. So your monthly fee plus $71 a day, that's your total is $5,146. Only if you're receiving any memory care surcharge care fees. If you are a second person, so two people, one of them going permanent and Majestic Oaks, it is your IL second person fee of $1,466 plus a $71 fee per day. Again, it's $2,146. Your total monthly fee to be at Majestic Oaks is $3,612 per month. Any questions? Did that make sense? I see a lot of heads bobbing, but not everyone. All right, I will continue. I don't see any cameras out either though, so. Payer source and long-term care insurance, we accept pretty much everything. Now, on your long-term care insurance, if you have a plan and you're moving into our assisted living in particular or long nursing home, we will assist you as much as possible to really kind of qualify. You need 2 of the 6 ADLs normally to qualify for long-term care insurance plans, or you have the diagnosis of dementia. So that's really kind of what the beneficial trigger is in the requirements of insurance plans. Now, there's a lot of times they come with an elimination period, so whatever you're paying for, you have to pay for 30, 60, or 90 days depending on your elimination period before that your plan will kick in, kind of like insurance or so forth, like car insurance, before doing so. And what it will look for, like in assisted living, a lot of times when we apply for those, they used to send out nurses to do evaluations. Not everybody does that. We do them for them, supply the information and paperwork for a lot of the times for the insurance company to show that it is supported, and then we help on a monthly basis to make sure that we continue to keep your long-term care policy in place. And our team does a lot of work to make sure that happens. Home health extended care. This has been a very successful program. We want to keep it going if you do need services, but we offer extended programs from 4, 8, 6, 12, 16, 24 hours, all depending on what the needs are. We've had many residents. A resident, for example, recently went to the hospital. Their spouse was unable to care for themselves and needed additional care while they were at the hospital before coming back. We also received a resident that needed hospice care. They wanted to stay at home, so they received 24-hour care at home before passing away. So it gives a lot of flexibility, and it kind of helps out with crises, or if you just want to stay at home or you need additional support, we are there to help you for the hours that are needed. And that's my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you. So detailed, my brain's spinning. On one of your slides for, I believe it was assisted living, the slide was split, and on the one side was like dental and dermatology, and to what degree are those additional services provided? Dental is like cleaning? or-
Yes, it's like that's a great question. It's whatever they can do safely within, like be cleaning. I've had people like for dentistry did teeth extraction, but that's it. But it's not going to do a root canal or anything else like that inside of it. Podiatry just might be like looking at the feet, trimming toenails because we don't touch toenails of any of that type of thing. But then they would refer you to go to a true podiatrist if you needed to have any additional services. It's really just the most basic services that we can do in-house before it becomes unsafe is really, and then it would send a referral to us. But it keeps us on our toes and shows us, hey, this is what is needed for the residents to take care of themselves. So it's the basic types of services that's provided in-house. But our goal is always to provide those services in-house if we can provide those, so, such as optometry and so forth. I don't see any other questions. I really appreciate your time and thank you for showing up and thank you for people are listening.